Hi guys, welcome to this week's digital. It is a folio template and it is all based around the beautiful colors of August, the yellows and the oranges and the browns and that nice golden light that August puts on everything. I'm not quite ready for fall yet. I'm still clinging to a bit of summer. So I thought this set would be a nice like shoulder season, nice little project to take us into fall, but not necessarily feeling super fall. It is a very chunky set. It's 15 pages. So I'm going to break this down in two different videos, and I'm going to show you the first part of my project, which is what I find the most complicated and the most daunting, and that is printing out the template, especially the outside, the bones of the folio, and then assembling the bones of the folio. The embellishing with the pockets is fairly straightforward and simple, but I wanted to go over the first two parts in this video to get you well on your way and so you feel really confident. So like I said, the set is 15 pages. The first 2 pages are going to be some diagrams here. I always need to print out my instructions or my diagrams or whatever I'm following. So I go ahead and I do that on grayscale, just so I'm not wasting printer ink. So just something to keep in mind. I'm going to set those off to the side so I can refer to them. Another thing about this set, as you may notice, it is printed in landscape. So you go ahead and you're going to need to double check those settings often that you are printing in landscape. Okay, so when you dig into the meat and potatoes of this set, the first 4 pages of where the design starts is where I'm really going to focus now. So we have our diagrams printed off. Those are pages 1 and 2. Page 3 is the outside cover. This is page 4, this is page 5, and this is page 6. So we're going to go ahead, and what I like to do first is I like to select to print pages 4, 5, and 6. And so we're printing out these pages. Now when these come out of my printer, they are setting on my tray face down. So if I would like to print on the reverse side, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip these like this. So what we just printed will be facing up in my printer drawer or my feeder. So we should be able to see the design, and we're flipping like this, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select to print page 3 for 3 copies. And what that's going to do is it's going to print this outside cover on the reverse side. So now I have a 2-sided print. Does that make sense? I know double-sided printing always takes a couple print tries of trial and error. Sometimes I jot down notes in hopes that I will remember it for next time, and I never seem to be able to do that. So it typically takes me like 1 or 2 tries until I'm like, oh, that's how I do it. But hopefully that helps. So remember, it's coming out. Your first pages of your design are coming out face down, and you are flipping them so they will be face up when you go to double print this outside pattern, this outside cover on the back side. Okay, one other thing before I take these to my trimming table. There are some guides here for fold lines. Can you see them? They do extend onto the print, but I do like to take a minute and just locate them. So, I'm sorry, that's not in focus there. There we go. I do like to take a moment to just locate them so I know exactly where they are. This one's easy, but this one's probably the most complicated to find because it's kind of buried in that pattern. Okay, I'll be back with these all trimmed up. Okay, so now I have these all trimmed up and ready to go. I like to leave the little clipping with it with the number that each piece is just until I am ready and secure in the fact that I know what it is. So I'm looking at my diagram here, and we have P1, P2, P3, P3A, and P4. So that will make a little bit more sense once we start scoring. So obviously we have P1 and P2 here. And what I like to do is I'm going to bring out my scoreboard and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to score these lines. I'm going to do that now. So I go ahead and I locate where my line is and I just line it up with a ridge and then I just stay in that line. And same with the second one. And then I don't know if you can see my little score lines there. It's very easy to go ahead and fold those. Okay, so that is P1 and P2. And I'm just gonna set this back with it just to keep organized. So P3 and P3A. So what P3 is referring to is this wider section. You can see like this is a bit of a wider fold. And then this is P3A, which is the actual image. I hope that makes sense. So I'm just going ahead and I'm scoring. And I'm just gonna go ahead and give that a good crease. Put my little number with it and set it to the side. And now we're going on to P4. And we are scoring along these score lines. Do you have one of these scoring boards? I really like them. I find them to be very helpful. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces cut and scored, and we are all set to go ahead and assemble this guy. Okay, so now I go ahead and I'm going to start laying these out exactly the way I'm going to glue them. So here are our little folds in this, and so this is really simple. This one just gets laid here. So on this guy, we have this fold and this wider area, which is P3, and then the P3A image. So basically this is just going to get glued right here. And that's what it'll look like on the reverse. So I'm just gonna lay that there for now, just as we're going to glue it. And the same for P4. We have this little tabby here, and then this little fold, and it's the same thing. That little tab is going to get glued just like so. Okay, so now I'm going to start gluing. I would likely be using a tape runner with this, except for I am out. So messy glue it is. So I'm just going to go ahead, and I don't get too close to the edge, just because it will squish out. But even that's a little heavy-handed, I feel like. So we might have to contend with some squish. I'm a bad gluer, y'all. Okay, and so then I line this up. Can you see? I'm just lining this up, and I'm going to press down gently. And then I'm just gonna flip it over, and I'm going to press along there, and then I can clean up any glue messes that I might have. I have a little there. Okay, I paused to clean that up a bit. Okay, so there we have this. And now we're just going to do the same thing and attach this. See, this really is very simple. It just, that printing out of things can seem a little overwhelming. Sorry about that. I found a little glue spot and I didn't want to ruin anything. Once you do this part first, this is the most, like, in my opinion, this is the most nerve-wracking part. And it's not even that nerve-wracking. It just takes a minute to think things out. So there we go. And again, I'm going to flip this over. If I have any glue mess, I'm going to clean it up. And I'm just going to press that down. I've seen these made so many different ways, but I thought this would be a nice, fun printable with just normal 8.5 by 11. So nothing special is needed. So there we go. That's really the bones of it. So these are going to fold in like this. And then like that. And can you see? So that's the bones of our folio. And then, as you can see by the diagram, and obviously all the other pages that are here, we have lots of little pockets and things to put in there, to glue down on there, little tags. This is a little pocket. How cute, right? These little side things are gonna go on either end. So like that's really fun. Look at all that fun ephemera I got to use in a really nice way. This one's really one of my favorites. This is going to go on this back panel here. But like, look how good that is. It's a little record thing. And these are all labeled very clearly so you know exactly where they're going to go. I'm sorry, I'm holding that a little close. So yeah, in part 2, I will come back with these already cut out and we can assemble the rest of the folio and take a peek at it. But yeah, I hope that made it a little bit easier to assemble. If you have any questions, let me know and I will do my best to answer them. I just think this is going to be really, really sweet. All right, guys, thanks.